yesterday we said that, so this is our AZ204. This is the second lecture we are starting today, and we said that in AZ204, these are the 5 topics, and we started with the first topic here. We created the virtual machine by using the code. We configured the just-in-time access. We saw how to go and configure them. We talked about the ARM templates. These 3 points I will leave it for now. I'll talk about it why, because if you look at the Azure AZ204, questions around these 3 have not been asked, the Kubernetes and Docker, So we'll leave this for now, and then I will again come back on this, right? So today my goal would be, is to start with the second chapter. The second chapter again belongs to Azure Compute Solutions, and in the second chapter, we will talk about how to deploy an Azure App Service. So basically, how do we go ahead and deploy an Azure App Service? How to enable diagnostics. So how to, let's say, if you want to go and enable some information, how to do that. So that is one. Second, you can see how to go and deploy that. That's again the part of this. And what exactly is auto scaling? There is a concept of auto scaling, what exactly it is, right? So this is my goal today, as well as if I can get a chance, I will also talk about Azure functions. So input and output of Azure functions, triggers, and what exactly is an Azure durable function, right? So 2 subtopics I will try, because this topic itself of Azure App Service is very big, right? So first thing, Azure App Service, what exactly it is, just for basics. Again, like all the URL is out here, we can just click on this URL, right? And also let me go and log in into my Azure portal out here. So very quickly, if you see over here, he's talking about how to go and create a Azure App Service. Azure App Service helps you to go and host web applications to Microsoft Azure, right? So if you see out here, we have this app service. So you can go ahead, you can create an app service out here, and you can say create an app service. Now, app services can be of various types. You would like to go and create a PHP app service or a PHP website you want to host, or you want to host must be a .NET Core or an ASP.NET or Java or Node or whatever, right? So you can see, depending on that, you need to go and select your runtime stack and so on, right? Now, rather than doing it from the portal, let me try to show you how to do it from Visual Studio, right? So that's the most used way, right? So I'm going to go very quickly to Visual Studio 2019. Now, remember, if you want to go ahead and use Visual Studio 2019 with Azure, then you need to go and install the Azure tools. So when you actually go to Visual Studio 2019, when you actually install the the services, you should ensure the workloads. You should ensure that you have also installed the Azure SDK and everything, right? So you have to go and select Azure, or else you won't get these functions. So I'll go and I'll create a project out here. I already have a project, so I'll take an existing project. So let me go and take an existing project. This existing project is a very, very simple ASP.NET Core. And this project, I want to go and host it to my, so that's the project out here. It's a very, very simple ASP.NET Core project, nothing fishy. It's just a template. So if you do an F5, if you just do an F5, well, what is that? Some identifier I must have. So yeah, something's out here. So must be, I can just say return view. I was teaching someone ASP.NET sessions. So yeah, there it is. So this is a very simple ASP.NET, the basic default website. So if you run it, I'm sorry for the cough. So it actually goes and executes your homepage of your .NET Core. So I have actually created a new project which is of .NET Core. In case you're new to .NET Core, please go and see the MVC Core videos. We are also having a parallel training of MVC Core with Angular, which we are having, right? So that also, if you want, you can attend. So here it is. This is the website out here, and I want to go and host this on Azure, right? So what I can do now, I can say here build. So one is you can go to the portal out here, create this web app name, and then upload the zip file, and so on. Those are other ways of doing it. But the best way, if you are a Visual Studio guy, you'll just say publish. And just ensure that when you're going to go and publish the website, right? Just ensure that you are logged in with your Azure account. So if you see here, I'm going to go and create a new publish profile. And here I will say now, so one way is I will go and do it manually out here. The another way is I can just do it from here, from Visual Studio, right? So you can see either I can say select an existing one, which I don't have. So I'll just say create a new one. And I'll say create a profile. Now, the only thing you need to remember is that you should be logged in with a proper Microsoft account out here. You can see here, I have right click on that drop down, and you can go ahead and you can click on this and you can do it, right? So basically just ensure that you log into this account out here. So you can see the default resource group. I can just create it from here, S1, and I'll keep everything standard. I'll say create. So you can see the web application name. I'm sorry, I've given a very, very long name out there. Web application 120, whatever is the default, I've taken it, and I'll just go and publish it. Now, please remember that the difference between hosting an Azure App Service and hosting an .NET Core inside a virtual machine is that there you get a full virtual machine. You have to pay for the full virtual machine, right? And here, it's just a simple, it will take one of the shared VMs. So please note when you are actually doing an app service, very quickly. Let me. Can you hear me? I'm not sure. Hello, yes. Okay, sorry for that. I actually plugged in this device and okay, there my web application is also running out there. So sorry for this. So here it is. One is what you can do is you can go ahead, install the VM, install IIS, and create this, right? But here then you get charged for the VM, and also you get charged for the website running, right? But when you create an Azure app service, what happens is, there are lots of shared VM out there. What he will do is he'll just host in one of the shared VMs, and you will not be billed for the full VM, but you will only be billed for the app service. So remember, app service has an advantage, when it comes in terms of the cost. But also you need to note that if you're talking about customization, if you're saying no, like I want to use Azure IIS 5.0, assume you want to use an old IIS. You have some old ASP.NET 2.0. If you have such kind of situation, then it is very difficult. You can really go and host as an app service, right? So you have to pay for, so here you don't have to really pay for the full VM. You have to only pay for the hard disk cost, whatever is your website hosted, and you have to pay for the CPU usage and the data storage. In case you are using SQL Server, you will be paying for that, but you won't pay for the full VM, right? So you can see this is running out here. Very good. I can see my application has been hosted on webapplication.azurewebsites.net. If I go to my portal, now I should see an Azure app service been created because it has been created by Visual Studio, right? So if I do a refresh, where is my app service? So one is I should see a resource group. Oh, I'm not, I'm logged in with some another account. This accounts, I don't know why they are getting switched. What a stupid email that is. Corresponding to your questions is the email. So it's there now. My credit card is attached with that, so I can't help out. Okay, there it is. It actually created out here. So here he must have created a resource one, REST one. Inside that REST one, you can see that he has created an app service. So this is actually your app service. If you click on this, this is where your .NET code is hosted. And the URL for the .NET code is this. You can see this one is a .NET code URL, right? And you can also see that he has created a service plan out here. If you go and if you look at the service plan, this says that what kind of service plan he has selected. You can see S1-1, right? So this is actually the service plan, which is regarding the cost and etc. This is what it is out here, right? But this is our actual website is hosted out here. This is the app service where it is hosted, right? So I can go and I can click on this link and I can browse to my website, and this is good, right? Okay, now, so that's how you go and you deploy your application. Now the next thing is enabling diagnostics and logs. So you can see here we have something called as enabling. Okay, come back again here. So app diagnostics, from application, you will have a lot of logs, like you would like to say that this has been completed, this is an error in the try catch you have put. So one is the app, what you call application diagnostics, and the other one is on the web server, on the IIS web server or on your system, you have certain log files. So you can see the system log files, system logs. So you would like to go and diagnose any one of those, right? Now from the application point of view, from the application, if you want to go and emit out any diagnostic, you have something called as the system.diagnostic. So you can see we have this system.diagnostic.trace. You can go and you can send out an error. You can go and you can send out an information. You can do lots of things out here, right? So let me make this as an information. Build this solution. So you can see here what I've done is, very quickly, let me publish this and I'll explain it. What I've done out here is in this home controller, in this index, I'm logging in some information out here. Now remember that you can say trace.error information, trace.warning, trace.general information, trace.verbose. So if you go and do a dot out here, there are different types of information which you can send out, error warnings and so on. I've just sent out information that this is something from the application, right? So that means that when I run this, so when I run this application, this over here, this index page runs, the index function runs, the index action runs, and this code gets executed. So now this is an application level information, and I would like to go into Azure and I want to receive this diagnostic. I want to get these things. I want to log it to an Azure blob. Must be, I want to log it to a log file into an FTP. I want to watch it and so on, right? So what you can do is you can go to your Azure App Service. Remember that whenever you are confused, where is the diagnostic configuration? Where is the what do you call the tools configuration? So what you can do is go to that component out there, and you can just type diagnostic. So if you just type diagnostic, you will get all the diagnostics out here. Now you can see there are two menus of diagnostics. One is the app service logs. This is what is your important thing, and one is diagnostic settings. I'll come to the diagnostic settings later on. Let me click on app service logs out here. So you can see here he's saying like, okay, so you want to do application logging at the file system. Yes, telemetry. You can say yes, Narayan sir. You can see application logging on the file. You want to do it. File means into the log file, or you want to do it on a blob. So you can either log it on a blob. You can either log it on a file. So what I'll do is I'll log it on a blob. So you can see here, this is the application login, and you can see this is the web server login. Web server means your IIS and so on, right? So must be, let us go ahead and log in some information of web server as well in the storage, right? Let us go and not only log in just errors and warnings. Let us make it verbose. Verbose means each and everything, whatever is emitted out from the application, I would like to log in. So you can see application login. You can see the IIS web server. At this moment, I'm using the word IIS, but it can be Apache as well, depending on your app service. Now I need to also go and give the storage settings. So let us go ahead, create a storage out here. Storage account, remember, storage account is where you will have blobs, you will have containers. So I'm going to go and create a general V1 storage account. So I'll just say response stored, whatever. Remember, AZ204 takes you in depth into programming of Azure. So if you look at the level of this class, it has become a bit higher as compared to AZ900. In AZ900, I just show you how to deploy the app, but I never talked about diagnostics. I never talked about logging and so on, right? So that's what AZ204 targets. And I feel these are all important. These are all very important. Right. Oh, this is taking time. Let us wait for some time. Till then, I can take some questions, until this. Let us not break the link, because this has some very important and crucial steps. Let me complete this. Some questions are flashing. I can take it. Can we host multiple websites? Okay, there it is done. Let me. Deployment succeeded. Let me go here. Now remember that you have a storage account, and inside the storage account, I want to go and I want to log it into a blob, right? If you want to go and log it into a blob, you have to create a container. Very quickly, if you remember, people who have forgotten storage accounts. So in Azure, very quickly, in Azure, when you talk about storages, you have various ways of doing it. One is you can create containers. The containers have blobs, and the whole goal of blob is to store unstructured data, files, and so on. Another one is we have Azure tables. This is where we store using the table format, or you can say it's like a NoSQL and so on, but it's a table format. Then we have queues. We can store it in a queue, where you want a first in, first out kind of scenario. You can also store just simple local files. You want to store a MP4 file, or you want to store a text file. So again, a file, right? So inside the Azure at this moment, I'm creating a container and I'm storing it into a blob. So what will happen is that complete log file, whatever is a log file, will be uploaded as a blob in an unstructured way into the container, right? So you can see here, so that is a container. I'll add a container out here, and I will give it full access, means anonymous can access it. You shouldn't be doing that in production. For now, I'm just ensuring that we can just see everything. So I'll just say correspond container, create. So that will create a container. I'll just refresh out here. There it is. Select. So that's a container, and inside this, so you can see I have selected this container where the logging information will be stored. What is the retention period? I'll just say 1.
Also, I've said that I want to log the web storage also. So web storage, again, I'll log it here only. I can select the request one container. I will log it here only, right? Also, if you want, you can download the logs from the FTP. You can see he has given an FTP account out here. You can also download it from here, right? So various options. You can store it in blob. You can store it in FTP. You can store it in log and so on. So I'll go and I'll say save out here. So there it is, save. Something missing. Yes, retention period. One. That is a retention period for HTTP. So there you can see it has, I can see that things are there. So now let me go to my blob out here. So let's go to the storage account. And at this moment, I will not have any logs. So we can just go ahead here and let us go to our storage explorer. And inside this, we have our container. And at this moment in the container as such, we don't have anything. I'll refresh, nothing to look here, right? Now let me go and hit out here. So I'm going to go and hit to this index action. Let me say refresh. Let me refresh a couple of times. There it is. So this will run the system.diagnostics, also the web server information, right? So now let me go back here. I've hit enough of refresh. Let me see here. So there it is. You can see it has created a log and it has stored it. Let's go and download the file. So I'm going to go and click on it and let's see what kind of information we'll see. So this is a very good thing, right? So think about it that in your application, you go and you put diagnostic information everywhere. And then in Azure, you come and you enable it, you see it, you check the errors if you want, and then you are done. And if you don't want it, just disable the log files and it will run in a full mode, right? So remember that, as a developer, you should be very much aware of system.diagnostic. System.diagnostic, right from ASP.NET, when it started 2003-4, it was always system.diagnostic. So ASP.NET, either the old one, the classic one, when I say classic means web form, MVC, and MVC core, right? They just log into system.diagnostic. From there, Azure can pick up in a different way. Windows Event Viewer can pick up in a different way, and some other system can pick up in a different way. So your work as a developer is that you should be using the system.diagnostic namespace to send the information. All the other Azure infrastructure, they only go and listen to this diagnostics only, right? So that only care you have to take. So I'm going to go and now to the file out here. Let's download it. That's the file, application log file. I'll just say download it. Okay, text file out here. And you can see the first thing is I logged a lot of information out there. So you can see all those HTTP calls. Remember, I have enabled HTTP logging also. But somewhere my information should also be seen. Whatever the information I've given out there, why I don't see it. Trace. Okay, where is it? Must be I can just search it out. Why I don't get that? I don't get it. Strange. I should also get that information. Okay, I need to check this. So basically, I should also see not only this information, I should have also seen, it is showing in 3.5.1 PM logs. Is it? What did I see? Someone is helping me and I would like to take his help. Why didn't I see the information now? Did I request again? So yeah, this is something else. Oh, that's the application log. So yeah, it's an application log. Fine, guys. Let me not hunt. It must be I become old, but somewhere that information should be there. What a bad way of doing it live in a live class. It's right. Okay, I'll check this out. Why my diagnostic information is not seen out here. Started out there. Route matched index is called out there. Shouldn't it be somewhere here? Okay. Before, yeah. Action filter is executing. And that's so bad. No, I actually, so there's a question that, so Amit, I have actually enabled everything, right? Like this is my mistake. What I did out here is I enabled everything. Let me do that. Let me go here. Let me do that. So it's not cumbersome. I made it cumbersome. So into this app service plan, I should really go and disable the other things. So diagnostic. Must be, you guys can try this out. You can see here, I enabled, one is I enabled application logging, right? At the blob level, right? So this is there. And I should have disabled this all off. And verbose, I can make it more of information because this is an information, right? So I can just say information and I can save this, right? And let me request out here, must be I will see something meaningful. Okay. So storage account. Why my information was not seen? Where is the, why they put the word preview? Sometimes it looks so difficult to get it. 2020. If you don't get it now, let's log file. This is okay. That is about the IIS. This is an old file. That application log is a separate file. No, we are checking the right folder. That's the folder actually. Folder is right. It just appends 531. It's an append blob. So you keep appending till the last. Append blob means it will just append till the last out there. But now I have pretty much these are all the first ones, so I can just go down, where I shouldn't be seeing too many information. Okay, guys, let me not run around this. But the point is that I should have seen that information out here. Let me figure out. Let's not do it in the live class now. But I should have got the information right out here. Okay, I'll check this out. Why my information is not seen, right? But pretty much, that's what. Even if you look at the tutorial out here, this one, it says the same thing. How to enable the diagnostic blob. Diagnostic. I'm missing something out there. I'm checking the wrong file. I'm checking it after a long time actually. So here's, if you look at, so that's what you should be doing, which I did. And also they have something called as stream logs. This is also very interesting. If you want to go ahead and see it in a live stream, like for example, now what is happening is I have to go to the log file, but what if I want to go and start a console and I want to see it live? So what I can do is I can go to the app service and there is something called as the log stream out here. So you can see the log stream and it will be seen here in the DOS in this command prompt. So you can see I've enabled application logs. Let us see if we are lucky. So I'm going to go and do a refresh out here. I'll quickly come here. Application logs are switched off. Application logs are switched off, is it? You can turn them all absolute. Okay. Okay, application logs are switched off. Where is the application log switched off? That's strange. That's for the file system. I don't want to enable this. I want to enable only that. Why is that message coming? Oh, now it is there. Wasn't that only the file? That was only a file, right? Okay, clear this. So it looks like it is sending some information out there. If you see out there, as per the tutorial, I'm so sorry for this. I had made the top file off. So I wanted to only store in the blob, right? So I'm not sure. It looks like this stream is dependent on that now. But if I do a refresh now, must be I should see live out here. You can see now this is live. So whatever I do out there, I can see it out here. So over here also, shouldn't I see my? I don't see my information. Fine, I'll figure that out. So this is again important log stream. You can go here. You can see what kind of information is live out here and what is happening, right? So Azure log stream out there. Okay, let us go ahead. Let's continue. I'll talk about this connection string later on. Let me take up an important topic called as auto scaling. Auto scaling rules. Let us take some questions. I'm so sorry, I missed the question part. I did not look at the questions. Can we put down some questions out there? I'm so sorry, guys. Today my demo of this did not work. I will figure out why my log file is not seen. Let me check that part. Let us take some questions. So what we have done is, till now we have done the following. We created an Azure app service. We saw the different features of enabling the diagnostics, and now we'll be going and doing auto scaling. Okay, can we parse this log file by using C#? Yes, you can do everything. So yes. So can we parse this log file by using to get an email notification? So here it is. That's a good question. So if you remember, one of the things which I've said out here is, so one is that now it is getting logged into a blob. But let us say if you look at Azure, Azure has lots of other things. For example, we have an Azure monitor out here. This Azure monitor can monitor your applications. It can monitor your infrastructure. Right? So if you want to really go and do such kind of activity, get the logs, you want to do some parsing on it. So what you can do is you can send it to the Azure monitor. So let's go to app services. So you can send it to your Azure monitor. So diagnostic, remember we had two menus of diagnostic. One diagnostic was the app service logs. The another diagnostics was this one, diagnostic setting. This diagnostic setting out here, what it does is it is used to stream or export the platform logs and etc. to the destination of your choice. As you said that you want to go ahead and put it into a file and read it from there, right? So you can actually go ahead and you can add this diagnostics out here. So if I go and add this all metrics and so on, what will happen is I can go ahead and I can see my diagnostics into my into my Azure monitor itself. I don't have to really go like this into a log file and then see, right? And also the best part about this this log out here is I can go and I can query out here. So you can do it by C# also, but this is one more option, because here you have a query. You can run queries out here. You can, so for example, you can see here like run the log by severity, run the log by each app service and so on. So you can do it by C# because you already have the FTP if you want to do it, but this is one more way of doing it. Can we use a third party like Log4j? Yes. Yes, you can use Log4j. But if you're using whatever Log4j, right, ensure that Log4j, okay, very quickly, Log4j, or at least for Log4j, I'm saying, Log4j, when you use with ASP.NET Core, it internally uses system.diagnostics. Please understand. So that's why it will definitely work with your Azure diagnostics as well. You can use it, yes. Is enabling log increasing my cost? Yes, a little bit. Remember, in Azure, everything is chargeable. Every feature you touch out there, don't even assume that you will not get charged. They will charge you. First assume that you will get charged until it is in preview or something. It's not selling. That product is not selling. They will give you for free or else they won't. So assume everything is charged out there. Preview one, yes, you can use in production. It should not be a problem. I will in production, I will say avoid. Okay, let me be skeptic. Avoid previews in production. Avoid previews in production. Because one of the problems with previews is that if something changes out there and you already have your data into a certain format, you won't be able to then migrate. So I would try to avoid previews. Okay, let us move ahead. There is something called as auto scaling. Auto scaling. So now you have this. So assume you want to go and you want to create a rule out there. So you have this app service which is running, right? And this app service, let's say you get 100 requests. This app service chooses one of the VMs, one of the shared VMs, and starts running inside it. The load increases, right? So let us say to this app service, now depending on the plan which I had for the app service, you could have allocated 2 VMs or you can allocated 1 VM, depending on the plan. Shared VMs, these are shared VMs. These are not VMs, which will keep running. So, but now think about let's say you have assigned 2 VMs and you want to auto scale. Let's say that if you say that, okay, like my request becomes 30,000, about 30,000, go ahead and create one new VM and start doing load balancing in this, right? And then when this load becomes below 30,000, you want to go and unload it. Or must you want to say that, okay, like this is 12 afternoon, go ahead and create one more VM. This is 1 midnight, let us just run on only 1 VM. So you want to go ahead and create various rules, and depending on that rules, you would like to auto scale VMs, for your app service, right? And that's where we have the auto scaling. So basically, where is my, okay. So here, we have auto scale. You can see in the monitor, we have an auto scale out here. So I can say now go ahead and auto scale on this plan. Remember, one is your source code is there. These two are very important. You should get the difference between them. If you go to app services out here, like this is the app service. This one here, this is the web application. This is your source code. This is the URL. But this URL, this source code, runs on a certain plan, 2 VMs, 1 VM. So the another one of the app service which is created, it is the plan, please understand. So I can go to resource 1. So inside resources, if you see, look at this. This is app service and this is app service plan. This is app service where your source code is. You can look at the icon, and this is the plan out here saying that whatever is the is your plan, 2 VMs or 3 VMs or whatever, right? So that's why, when I go to my, when I say I want to do auto scaling out here, monitor. So when I go to auto scaling out here, he actually works on the plan. So that's why you can see now he's saying, okay, on this plan, you want to do auto scaling. You can see at this moment, auto scaling is not configured. So I'll just click on this web application. And now, first thing you can see, there is manual scale. You just say, I want only 1 VM. You can see at this moment, there is only 1 VM. You can say 2 VM. So he will have 2 shared VMs. Repeating that word, 2 shared VMs. But now let's talk about the rule kind of auto scaling. So that's what this right hand side is, custom auto scale. So you can go ahead and you can say custom auto scale, and you can say, okay, scale condition 1. So you can see that this is scale condition 1. So scale based on metrics. So you want to say that, yes, I want to go and based on some metrics, for example, is it afternoon? Is it the CPU percentage? Is it hard disk usage, right? So I'll add a rule out here. And now in this rule, you will see that this is the metrics. So for example, you can see CPU percentage. First thing, there is a standard metrics, right? You can see this is a standard metrics out here. And from this, I'm saying that I want to go ahead and select, let's say CPU percentage. So if the CPU percentage, goes above something, so you can see out here, if this operator, crosses this limit, then wait for 10 minutes. In the duration of 10 minutes, wait for 10 minutes. And if it is there, then go ahead and increase the VM by this. So you can go and you can select a matrix out here like this here, selected CPU percentage. You can select, something else, must be data in, right? So if the data is X amount of bytes, you can see now, if the data is more than 70, let's say something, greater than 70,000 bytes or something, that's a very less amount, right? Then you would like to go and do something out here, and then you can also decide on the time, saying that, okay, if the time is 12 o'clock, then do something. So basically, you need to go ahead and create this rule out here. I will not do it now, but you can go and you can create a rule out here. So you can go and you can say add a scale condition, then add a rule, and you can go ahead, right? So that's what is auto scaling. So just remember the menu. The menu is in monitor. You have to go to monitor. You have to go to monitor. Then you have to search auto scale. And then you can go here. I really want these guys. I don't know, like, must be this is happening now. That's something I wanted. Like, for example, the problem is it's very difficult to remember where is auto scale. For example, I really get confused with auto scale. Then I try to search auto scale into the app service plan. Why? Because it's a logical point to put, right? But then I don't get it there. I get it in the monitor. So must be, they can go again to the sub menu and allow me to search like this, because now I can search virtual machines. I really like this. But these small properties out there, it becomes very difficult. Yes, it is horizontal. Well, it is scaling now. I didn't get what is horizontal scaling, because there are horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. So you can say that this is, how do you say, this is adding new boxes. So one is you have this web farm and web garden, right? How do you say it? Like, so in a web farm, what happens is you add a new server. So when you say this auto scaling out here, he just adds a new server. When you say web garden, that means he adds more CPUs to it, right? Okay, whatever, horizontal or the scaling, yes. Okay. Yes, adding more boxes. Yes, adding more boxes. There is one more word for that. I remember some of the architects were using those weird words. Is it a scale in or it's a scale out? Something they were saying. Yeah, scale up or something. Yeah, but it's just adding new boxes again. Just remember, adding new boxes. I can understand the jargons out there. So that's okay. This is very interesting. Some common auto scale patterns. This remember in AZ204 you will be given a scenario. So you will see a lot of questions which are scenario based, right? So you can see this is a common auto scale pattern. For example, one is scale based on CPU, very easy. Scale differently on weekdays. So on weekdays and weekends, you want to go and have a different kind of scale. Scale different holidays, there is again on holiday kind of. So there are some patterns out there which they have, you can use it. Custom metrics also, if you want, you can use it. So you can go through this menu out here, some of the patterns, right? Okay. Let's go back. So that is this. We'll come to this web app settings later on. Okay, I'll come to all those topics later on. The third topic out here. Okay, any questions here? Yes, let's first go into questions. Must be we can take the function Azure functions later on. Let me go to questions out there. Let us start looking at questions. Yes, Amit, I'll take this. We are actually now logging all the chat what you write. We are putting into a log, and whatever people are asking, we are trying to do that. Yeah, all conditions you can combine with OR, and, XOR, debug, yes. Adding more machines, yes. All right, so this question, let me take this question. I'm not sure if I'm from Amit. Let me take this question. Can be increased to on the fly if there are only 2 VMs at the initial level when creating app service plan, scaling up. Okay, so I think Amit, I answered this question, so I'm sorry. This is answered, right? Auto scaling is same as elasticity, yes. Yes, that is what is elasticity. Okay. Let me know any questions. Yes. So a question from, so there's one question out here. In app service, how do we manage backend logic like database records and so on? So for database, you have to create SQL server. So you have to go out here, and that's what is the other part of AZ204, right? So very quickly, over here, database means like it's going to be like you're going to go and create SQL server. So you'll create SQL database, you will give it in the connection string of your app service, and you will connect, right? Or must be if you want to use an Azure storage like a table, why not? Like then you can go and you can use the storage account if you want. Storages are different. So for storages, we have a separate section. Very quickly, if you look at the AZ204, they have given separate time for Azure compute. And there is a separate time for Azure storage. So we'll talk about Azure storage separately. But it is not as a part of app service asset. When you install app service, it is just an app service, only the code. Okay, any questions? Yes. Will you also cover questions? Absolutely, I will cover questions. I have dumps. I have all the dumps. Actually, I myself first have. I normally what happens is I first give the exam. So I've given the exam twice, so that means I've passed twice properly. So what is App Insight and what if you have? I'll come to that, Amit. The App Insight, I'll come to that separately. Question support. Can you take this question, App Insight, and keep it? In the previous class also there were some questions I'm not still answering. Yeah. Okay. Very quickly, guys. Let us just start with function apps. I'm not sure. I have only 10 minutes out here, but let me at least briefly introduce you function apps, right? So we have. You can start with a very big elephant like a virtual machine. So here it is. Remember that Azure is like your Ola and Uber. They say that you want a shared auto, your shared cab, or you want a single cab, or you want to go long route. So it's like a shopping basket out there, right? So you can go ahead and start with a very big elephant like a VM, and then host a IS on that full ceremony out here, right? Like how you guys do it, right? And developers love this environment. And then you say, no, like I just want to host a website. So that's what we have, the app service, right? And you can, and they have also given a feature of auto scaling, so you can save money some out there, right? The second one, the last one out here is function apps. Function apps are nothing but where you say that I just want to run a single line of code, serverless. Yeah, you can talk about serverless. That word serverless, why they say the word serverless? Like example, when you talk about here, you have a VM, so you have a server. Here also, when you host a whole website, you get attached, your code is still attached to some server, right? Here what happens is the VM is required, definitely. Without the VM, without the CPU, it won't run, right? It is required, but it is required only for that time. So he goes ahead, he executes on a certain VM, gives a response, and that's done. Over here in this app service, you will be billed also when your app service is not running. So even if you just, the app service storage, for example, your source code must be having some storage or must be your database is there, right? Or whatever. So for that time, you will be, whatever the hard disk space will still will be charged for you, right? Here, only when the code is run, that at that time, whatever CPU you consume, you will get only charged for it, right? So we have something called as function apps out here. Now, when you talk about function apps, so remember, you have different levels out here. So you can create a VM, you can host a full-blown website with a home page, index page, and about us, and so on. Or you can just host a very simple API there called as run stock ticker or get today's date and time, and or something, right? Or get today's weather. That's it. I don't want to keep on running again and again, right? So that's what function apps is. Now, very quickly, this function apps. So if you say you have a function app out here, which is, let's say, to see a weather, the first thing is that who triggers it? Is it an HTTP call? Is it an insert into a blob? Or is it someone sending an email? If someone sends an email, this function app runs. So there are, certain inputs. So if you see out here, input bindings. And then finally, when the function app runs, must be he will give the output to the browser as a response. Must be he can go and he can put it into a database. He can put it into a storage, right? So there are some outputs. So again, in this exam, they want you to know that what is the input binding and output binding for a function, right? And also, like, function triggers, by using timers, webhooks, this also they want you to make you aware. So I'll take this in the next class. There is also something called as Azure durable function. Now what happens is, this function app, when you actually go and run it, it will serve the request and then it is done. It does not remember, like what are the variables, what was there in the first call and so on, right? Now assume you want to go and run multiple function apps. So assume now you have a situation where you want to run function app 1. Oh my God. So you have function app 1. I'm so lazy in writing. Your function app 2, right? And you want that you run this, and the response of this function app should go to function app 2. Function app 2 must be, it will go to the browser, right? And the input will start by a timer, must be. So that means over here you have a lot of function apps must be, and then you also have to orchestrate. So there is an orchestration also which you have to do, right? So that's termed as a durable function. So durable functions are nothing but, wherein you have series of function, one giving output to another, and you want to maintain state between them. You want to ensure that they are orchestrated. And that's where, these durable functions are. Right? So guys, in the next class, not today, because today, even if I start creating a function app now, it will take 15 minutes. In the next class, we will try to cover function apps. Not scheduled job. So there's a question out here. Is function app like scheduled job? No. Scheduled job means it runs after a certain time. Function app is a piece of logic. Let me show you. For example, let me create a function app. Function app is just one function. Look at this. This is a function app out here. Let me create it because I can see those questions out there. So if you see here, I'll say create a function app. Now remember, you can create a function app by using the Azure out here, or you can go and you can also create a function app by using from here. You can go ahead, you can say file, new project, and you can create an Azure function app from Visual Studio. So that is the Azure function app, right? Now out here, so I can go, let me just show you so that, because that I can understand your question. That is timer a function app, is scheduled job a function app? No, scheduled job will trigger function app. Timer will trigger function app. HTTP request will trigger function app. So function app is a piece of code. So you can see here, I'll say that my runtime stack on which I'm developing is .NET Core. Let's say this is response function app. I don't know why they're having this, so many URLs out there. They should really make a namespace. So response fun one, something, I'll say review and create. Let's create this function app. So quickly create. Let me show this demo, guys, because I can see those questions out there. So there it is. My function app is getting created. So let's go to the function app. Everything is in REST 1. Everything out is in REST 1. What happened? Refresh. There is something wrong with the cache of browser when it comes to Azure. It comes after some time. No, it's not in progress. It is done. Remember, it is not copying a file, copying a text file from one drive to another drive. So when you create a virtual machine, it's actually going to go and provision a virtual machine for you. So you have to be patient, so fine. So here it is, function app. App service plan. Okay, now it is coming. Where is the resource groups? Why I don't see my function app? Didn't I create it? Do you guys see the function app? Uh, oh, I'm lost. Why I don't see my function app in my resource group? Oh, that's Questpond Fun one. The hell, I'm blind. Okay, now I see it. Okay, Questpond Fun one. So there it is. So this is the function app out here, and in this function app now we can go ahead and we can create a function, a piece of code out here. You can see here I can say add. Now I want to go and add a code, but to trigger this function, what is it? What is the input? It's going to be an HTTP trigger, a timer. So answering that question out there, it is not scheduling a job. A scheduled job, there can be a schedule out here, which can probably be a timer. And then that timer will trigger that, right? So must be, I can say at this moment, HTTP trigger, and this is create a function, and there will be an output to the function, right? So there is inputs and there is outputs. So you can see here now, this is my function app out here. So they put some sample code. So if you look at the function app, they will actually put some sample code out there, and you can go ahead, you can change that. So you can see that's a sample code out there. So this is that function out here, and this gets executed. You can go and you can test this. This gets executed only when needed, right? And if you look at the integration part, if you look at the overall view of a function app, it looks like this. So this is that small piece of code out here. It can be triggered from HTTP, and the output can go anywhere. So for example, I can add more inputs out here. I can say add an input, something more like when somebody adds a record to an Azure blob storage, or must be when somebody inserts an Excel file, or must be somebody puts something on an OneDrive, or must be when somebody sends an email, right? So you can see lots of here, and then we can say add an output. So where do you want to do it? So afterwards, when the output is done, you can just send back to an HTTP response, or you want to send it as an email. So there are inputs to a trigger and there are outputs to it, right? So for example, at this moment, this can be triggered by HTTP. So if I want, I can go and I can execute this. If you look at this code out here, if you watch this code out here, this code is a very, very simple task out here, and it takes a query name. So if you look at the sample code, and it sends a response, right? So what I can do is I can get the function URL. You can see I can get the function URL, and I can make an HTTP call here. So I will go and I'll just say Control V. And remember that we need, if I go and press enter now, it will just say, please pass the query string. So fine. So remember query string, I will say and name is equal to quest font. So if I press enter now, you can see hello quest font. Now this, whenever this function runs, for example, at this moment, the trigger is HTTP. Whenever it runs, I will get billed only for that time, for that CPU usage. That's it. So that's what function apps are. Function apps, they get triggered due to some event. They run, they bill you, and then they are done. And that's why people term it as serverless. A lot of people say serverless because it runs on any server. It does not have any fixed server. Yeah, created by C#, you mean Kumar sir, you can create by Visual Studio. When I say created by C# means by created by Visual Studio. If you're saying yes, can you see Azure functions? You can see Azure functions out there. You can go and you can select Azure functions. You can do next, and you can host it. You can debug it. Yes, and remember, our function apps are not just C#. It can be Node.js. It can be PHP. It can be anything else. So that was a small introduction to function app. In the next class, we can do durable functions. So yes. Oh no, yes. If it is so, Manish sir, if the function app is accessing a blob, see, blob will be built separately to you. So definitely, if a function app is using SQL Server, you will be built for SQL Server, right? I'm just talking about the execution part. So only for the CPU execution you will be build less. Remember, whenever your bill is generated, it is built, it's an itemized bill. So if you look at the bill out here, it is very much itemized. So you are billed for everything. So when you go to your cost management and bill, you will be billed for storage separately. So for example, this is my bill out here. I just take trainings in this, but you can see top services by cost. Code storage will not be billed. Yes, exactly. Code storage will not be billed, but I will be billed for storage definitely. You can see seven rupees I have billed, for this one. And guys, very quickly, a lot of people who come new to Azure, they feel that Azure is very costly. You can see that I've been teaching you guys for must be yesterday and today. My yesterday's bill was 43 rupees. So this is today's bill, but even if I look at my yesterday bill, it should not be too much, right? So this is my monthly forecast is also looking very good out here. So please note that you already get 13,000 rupees, 13,500, I guess. You can use that 13,500, and whenever you do your training, whenever you finish your training, just go ahead and delete the resource group. For example, what I did is, at this moment I created a VMI thing, I created an app service, I created a function app, right? But I added all to one resource. So when you're done with it, you can just go ahead and delete this resource one and say delete, you are done. So you don't get billed after that, right? So you can learn Azure that way without getting too much charged. So yes, for a blob, you will get charged. Let me see some more questions out there. Is Azure forecast using ML algorithm? I need to check that, Naren sir. I'm not sure. I doubt it will be using ML algorithm. Can we enable diagnostic in function app? Yes, you can. You can enable diagnostics in function apps. Remember, wherever is C# code, you can do system.diagnostics, period. And once you do system.diagnostic, the Microsoft infrastructure, either Windows, either Azure, they understand how to read it. Okay, so thank you very much. So